Stone Paxton Music and Life, welcome to my channel. For all those that are not subscribed to my channel, make sure you hit subscribe, make sure you hit like, and also make sure you hit that bell to get the notifications for all my latest videos. Welcome back to my channel, you guys, and listen, update, Johnny Somali. Well, you know, I just knew this kid was going to have to apologize, you guys. Welcome all of you guys back to my channel, Stone Paxton Music and Life. I just wanted to talk about this a little bit. You guys saw my video about the kid, Johnny Somali. Damn, I'm sorry, you guys. This is crazy. I'm like, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. That's rude for me to do that on camera, but I'm going to do it anyway. Anyway, so you guys saw my video about the kid, Johnny Somali, and I talked about, you know, just what he did was so super disrespectful. The comfort women and the fact that he went twerking on the statue in their country. And I was disgusted. I was really upset about that. I don't get upset about much, but I was very, very, very upset about that. And I voiced my opinion. And that night I got a lot of crazy people commenting. Typically people that I typically don't get commenting on my channel. I had people coming in, placing their comments and stuff like that. And that was cool. But some people just got kind of out of hand with it, saying some of the stupidest stuff. But listen, I knew a few things were going to happen. And that is, this kid was going to have to, because they were talking about possibly taking his passport away. So I knew that he was going to have to either apologize, or they probably would have figured out a way to violate him for breaking the law in their country, because that is a violation, whether you believe it or not, whether you guys know it or not. That's a complete violation. So I was like, okay, my man, you went over to this country and you done your little twerking on the statue. And I mean, he's done some crazy stuff in other countries. But this was, I'm not going to say more than what he's done in other places, because he's really done some stuff in Japan and places that I felt like they probably should have knocked him out, or, you know, he probably should have been locked up for just being so disrespectful to their culture as well. I'll tell you guys, I have the worst problem with these doggone glasses. So it's like I try to clean them so much and I end up actually scratching my glasses. You know, might have to replace my lens, man. But anyway, this kid, reckless, man. To say the least, I'm going to call it recklessness, because you just don't go over to somebody's country and just do something that definitely is disrespectful to them and to their culture and to the women and to the men and just to their culture in general. So I knew the update to this was going to have to be him apologizing to that community before he would even get on a plane and be able to leave that country. Now, looks like they let him out of jail. And I'm not sure if he was in jail, but from what I heard that he was. I was talking to some of my buddies in Korea, and they said that he was locked up. So has he learned his lesson is a question. I listened to his apology, and I don't know if I necessarily believe it. I mean, he seemed rather kind of, it's like a vague apology to me, but it doesn't sound 100% sincere. He said one thing that I noticed. He said, in America, we don't know about the comfort women. He's full of shit. There's a lot of people in America that know about it. He might not have known about it, but it's hard for me to believe that he didn't know about it, because he went over to that country and he purposely went to that statue. Now think about what I'm saying. He purposely went to that statue, but you're saying you didn't know about it. Why was that statue such an important element for you to film? He said it's all comedy and out of fun. There's nothing funny about that to me. There's nothing funny about disrespecting anyone's culture to me at all. But he said he didn't know. It's hard for me to believe that he didn't know, because out of all the places you could have went and done something in front of, you went to that statue, and you not only did you disrespect it, you twerked. So it's hard for me to believe that you didn't know, because you twerked, and twerking represents what? Whatever you want to, to me, it represents a sexual act, right? It could be that, even though he had his clothes on, even though sometimes people twerk, they twerk with the clothes on or off. But my point is, twerking represents to me, it's a representation of something that you're trying to say. Either be, a woman doing it, or a guy playing around with a female doing it. It's a representation of something that you're trying to say sexually. That's the way I look at it. I don't know. I'm an old school cat, but that's the way I look at it. So that statue, twerking, it'll be a difference if he went in front of the statue and acted stupid and did some stupid stuff and jumped around, popped the balloon and done some weird stuff. But he didn't. He went in front of the statue, was licking, kissing, and twerking. I don't care what nobody says. I think he's capping the Korean government by just saying whatever he has to say to make it sound like he's sorry. I don't believe it, because I truly believe he knew exactly what he was doing. Now, will he ever go back to Korea? Let's just say this. Will he ever even go back to Korea? I don't even think he's going to mess with Korea again, which is good. This should be a lesson for every person that is trying to go to any country and disrespect their culture, their history, and their national treasures, like statues and monuments and things like that. This should be a lesson for everyone. I don't care if you're white American, black American, Hispanic American, even Asian Americans that's coming from the U.S. But of course, they wouldn't do that. Asian Americans have an understanding of history, and even in America, they have a level of respect. Some of these young guys these days, the modern day young guys, they just don't have no respect, man. And so this is a lesson for everyone who thinks they can go over to any country and disrespect them. He went to some places that I'm actually surprised he didn't disappear. I'm just going to say that. He went to some countries and did some things, and I'm surprised he didn't disappear. He got into some heat in Japan and some other places, but I'm just surprised some of these countries tolerate it. He's been very fortunate and lucky. Hopefully, this is a lesson for him. You can do videos. You can be funny on YouTube without insulting somebody. You can be hilarious and do comedy. If you want, you say comedy, to me, that's not comedy. To me, going over to somebody's country, insulting them is not comedy. He probably needs to get better at stand-up comedy, because the comedy he's doing is not comedy. There's nothing funny about that shit. And I'll say that again. I don't think he's truthfully learned a lesson from this. Like I said, I just think he's doing whatever he can to buy some time to get up out of Korea, saying whatever he has to say to appease to the Korean people and the Korean government. But I don't think he's going to be going back to South Korea anytime soon. I definitely know he probably isn't. I think this scared the hell out of him. Do I think he's done? By all means, absolutely not. Not. Why? This is making him money doing stupid stuff. So he's going to keep doing it. He's just not going to go to certain countries. And if he do, he might tone down a little bit. He might still go. But I just don't see him doing anywhere close to near to what he just did in Korea in any other country, because now everybody knows his antics. Everybody knows who he is. So as soon as he pops into that country or that city, they're going to automatically know what's up with him. And I think people are going to be prepared for him. I think there's always going to be a crew of young dudes looking out for him, waiting to, set him right, just like they did in Japan. They were chasing him, a crew of guys. So I don't think, and he didn't learn his lesson in Japan, obviously, because nothing happened to him too much. But Korea set him right. When that dude in Korea, popped him, I think it opened his eyes a little bit. And this guy is a soldier in Korea, and he's an MMA fighter. And like I was telling you guys, I understand as a martial artist, when that guy hit him, and I researched this guy is no joke, man. This guy is no joke. He's like some of the guys that I train with, some of the guys that I fought in the ring. This guy is no joke. He's serious business. He's a no-nonsense guy. Once again, I'm going to say to any young streamers, YouTubers, be careful when you're going up to these countries planning to operate in disrespect. Korea don't play at all. Once again, the Korean men in South Korea, it's mandatory for them to be in the military. In America, we have military also, but typically you only do, it's short, it's a short element of martial arts training. They teach you hand-to-hand combat. My instructor used to actually teach that to the police department and military. So, but it's not a long hand-to-hand combat. It's not like for a long time, because like I've trained for years, but to get better at martial arts, it takes years of training. You can't do it one time and be good. Although there's some people that are natural at fighting. Some people just have it natural at fighting. And so imagine those people that are natural at fighting that decide to get into martial arts, they become better. But in Korea, they train. This is normal. They go to the military, they train. They don't just train one time. They hand-to-hand combat is proficient, very proficient. I train in Korean martial arts. You know what I'm saying? Taekwondo. I train in Japanese martial arts. You know what I'm saying? I got my black belt in Taekwondo. I train in Shotokan, Japanese martial arts too, for years. I started off in Kung Fu, but I got my black belt in Taekwondo. So what I'm saying to you is, actually it's American freestyle, but my instructor was he comes from a Taekwondo background. And so he blended many styles together and called it American freestyle. But these young guys in Korea and the OGs in Korea, don't get it twisted, man. Koreans are well-versed in self-defense, the men, and even some of the women. I'm just going to be honest with you. The ones that go to the military, they have the same amount of training. So don't get it twisted, okay? Do not get it twisted. Man, I'm just hoping this kid has learned. I just don't think he's learned. Honestly, I don't think he's learned. But this was an awakening for all of you. This was awakening. I'm glad nothing really happened to him, but I am glad that the dude did sock him in his face to kind of teach him a lesson. He needed to be popped real good to wake up. He needed that sock. You know, you that one sock. You ever been in a fight and you get hit that one time and you wake up and you're like, oh, shit, that hurt, right? He needed that pow. He needed it because he needed to be woken up. And I think this did it for him to a certain extent. I just don't see him going to Korea again. Maybe, I don't even think the Korean government is going to allow him to come back, to be honest. Maybe they will. It didn't seem like they were like opposed to him not coming at first. They were really disappointed and upset, talking about maybe keeping him. But maybe they'll let him go back. But I will promise you one thing. If he goes back, he will never go back like this ever again. He will never go back doing what he's doing. He'll be there like a regular tourist. He'll be looking around, eating food, kimchi, and being real cool. He might have made some cool friends in Korea from this who can actually look like there was some elders, some older Koreans on the video I saw of him apologizing. And they had the camera out for the Korean community like this. So he might have made some Korean friends that really pulled him aside and talked to him and said, hey, man, this is not cool. This is not cool. You're looking at possibly being locked up permanently. So I think, there might be a possibility that he learned a little something. Notice I'm going to keep going back to that, a little something. This kid's not going to change, man. He's making money from doing this. Like I said, he's just going to be careful. I don't know why he don't do this in the U.S. I think if he did it in the U.S., I think he has done it in the U.S. Wrong. But I know he won't go around the U.S. doing this too much because people ain't going to tolerate that in the U.S., which is why he's hopping on the plane going to other countries. Now, my bet on this is let him do this and let him go to Houston and do this. Let him go to Chicago and do this. Real talk. Let him go to Oakland and do this. I'm just saying. Do this same thing in Oakland. Do this to black people in Oakland. Do this to black people in the Bay Area, Chicago. You feel what I'm saying? Houston. Do this to black folks out there. Down south, New Orleans, Shreveport. Do that there. Do it to black people. I bet you the outcome is going to be just like what happened in Korea. Especially certain stuff, like, monuments and things like that. The U.S. wouldn't tolerate them. No way. They don't have to be black people. If he'd have done that on a monument in the U.S., he would have been locked up. They would have just locked him up. You know, at first it would have been like controversial, but then they would have done something to him, because you can't do that in America. You can't go disrespect a national monument. Those that have, it's always been issues with them. You know what I'm saying? Problems and things that have happened to them from doing that. So I'm spitting and shit, but I'm so into this conversation. But the people that have done that have got caught up in situations. So I just don't see them really doing that in America. But hey, what the hell, right? Johnny Somali, that apology. I don't know. I don't think Korean people are buying it. I don't think South Korea buys it, but they're like, hey, at least we made them apologize. You're not going to come here and disrespect our land. That's right, South Korea. Nobody should do that, okay? So there it is, you guys. He apologized, and let's see what he will continue to do. I don't usually talk about streamers, but like I said, this story kind of touched close to me because he's an African-American kid. And like I said, he looks like he's a Muslim kid. He has a Muslim name. So Muslim people don't allow their kids to be that way. He just seems to be an out of control Muslim kid, which is really rare and weird. But, you know, you have them. There's always some bad seed somewhere. So I'm sure his parents might have talked to him too, maybe family, friends. Some of the Muslim community probably talked to him and said, man, this ain't cool what you're doing. So whoever talked to him, they talked to him enough to apologize, because I've actually never seen him. According to some of the footage I went through, I haven't seen any footage of him apologizing. So there it is, you guys. Stone Paxton Music and Life. Johnny Somali, the apology. Let's see where it goes from here. Listen, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Probably be in the studio, not really sure. I'll post another video of me in the studio, but I'm trying to get this album done. So I'll see you on the next video, and I'm out. Stone Paxton Music and Life.